How's it going, ladies?
Hello.
Hi.
Thank
How's
you for
everybody?
joining me today. Ladies, I appreciate that. We have a special topic that we are going to discuss tonight that definitely needs more publicity, definitely more, not even publicity, just something that, more people can hear about, need to hear about, and maybe can learn something from it, based on stories or anything we might have for advice, you know, per se. We are doing a show tonight based on sobriety and music. And this is definitely a very sensitive topic, and something very much so that a lot of people are now going there are now doing in the music scene because of what's happened in the past. But it's not just the music scene; it's everybody. We all have a story to tell, one way or another, whether you're still sober or you're not. Before we get to that, though, of course, introductions. I'm Fran from the Savage Ladies of Metal. With me from Texas Metal Militia, we got Crystal,
Hello.
Bulldog Management, Chrissy, and we also have Kristy Tallica, who also is a singer of Damaged Justice. Metallica Tribute. Ayo. Ladies, thank you
Awesome.
so much for being here. I just want to put this out there that this is a very non-biased topic in every way. Everything we say here on Savage Ladies of Metal podcast and YouTube is it's a matter of our own personal opinions, how we think of things, how we see things. So this is not a judgment that we pass on to anybody, even amongst ourselves. We are all four different, varied personalities with different opinions and different statements on how we think things are for ourselves in life. So we will not pass judgment on each other, nor anybody else out there who is viewing us thinking we might. Not at all our intention in any way, shape, or form. Ladies, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Fran.
Yeah. Always. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Kristy, you are our first guest
Woohoo.
for Real Talk with Savage Ladies. And thank you again for being here. I'm really excited that you're here. I knew one day I'd see you here.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm real excited to be here today. It's an important subject that a lot of people actually reach out to me about behind the scenes. Pretty frequently, they ask me, how do you get sober? Because I'm now 13 years sober from alcohol.
Wow.
Beautiful. 13 years.
Yeah, it was a journey.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And for those out there, 13 is not actually an unlucky number. If you look into the history of it, it's actually a blessing. And a lot of positive vibes come from the original number 13 long before it was considered bad. So look it up before you think it's bad. So that's a beautiful blessing, Kristy. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
on 13 amazing years.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So I'm just gonna just dive in. And ladies, again, we're here to just all talk to each other and find out, what's our own story if we have one. I will call myself out first and foremost. Yes, I still drink. Yes, I am a drinker, and I will not, I'm not going to deny the blessing from my past. And I've cut back in a lot of ways. No, I did not stop, but I have cut back dramatically for many, many reasons. And I have no problem admitting that here when the time comes, if it's my turn. But so Kristy, so if you don't mind me asking, 13 years sobriety. At what point did you personally feel that, okay, this is it, I need to finally do something? How do you get to that point?
It was a long process because I started drinking when I was a teen, probably 14. And at first it starts off, oh, this is fun. And then it becomes, you feel like you need it. And then it becomes a problem. And then it's ruining friendships. It's ruining, What happened was I started getting professional help, talking to a counselor, dealing with the past, trauma, resentment, PTSD, all the hurt, all the memories. Because those are the reason sometimes for the addiction is I'm trying to silence something that's broken inside me. It's those tapes that play with the bad memories or whatever it is. And the drinking would kind of numb me for a bit. I'd feel like, oh, now I feel normal. because, that's how we should feel, is not constant turmoil. But when I got help, I got to a point where I healed quite a bit. And I said, you know what? I feel like I don't really want this anymore. I don't want to drink anymore. And that's when the tough work began. And I want to start this off by saying, I love humans. I don't care if you're an active user. I don't care if you're sober. I don't care. I love all people. I'm here to share my personal experience. And I can only speak for myself and what I've personally done. And here's what worked for me. So there's 4 things you should know about quitting any addiction. And the most important one is that it's a lifelong commitment. That's the only reason I was able to do this for 13 years, is because I weighed out, what's the cost? I'm going to lose friends. I can't go to the places I used to go. I can't go to the bars for a while. I didn't go into a bar for like 4 years. And it's going to change how I celebrate. It's going to change how I deal with a rough day. It's going to change everything, everything. And I counted the cost and I said, no matter what, I want to live. It's worth it. So that's 1. 2 is that in some way, some addictions can be, quite self-destructive. And I think in my own little way, I was committing a very slow slide, if you know what I mean, because censorship, I got to say it funny. But it occurred to me, deep down, all of us, we all really want to live. You don't really want to die. You really want to live. You just want life to be better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then 3, your mind and your body always want to heal. You are a self-healing machine. You were born to heal. You cut your finger, it's gonna magically heal itself, right? You're born to heal. You already have the ability inside you.
Right.
We just get kind of overwhelmed. We get afraid. We're afraid of change. But the thing is, you might be convinced that the turmoil you feel or the pain you feel is forever, and it's not. Because stuck is just a feeling. It's not a final resting place. You might feel stuck, but feelings are just feelings. They're not forever. So don't judge your future. That's number 4. I said there's 4 things, so that's 4. Don't judge your future based on how you feel today. Because today feels like I'm going to feel this way forever. But when has that ever been true? Remember being a teenager and maybe you broke up with someone and, oh my gosh, I'll never love again,
Yeah.
Was that true? No, feelings are not forever.
Right.
So it's very important to have, to try to be optimistic. And that's what's going to save you sometimes, because when you choose to be optimistic, it opens you up to new possibilities, new ways to heal, new things that can help you get better. And don't wait for the rock bottom, because there is no bottom. The bottom is death.
Right.
That's the bottom. That would have been the bottom for me. So I say, don't wait for rock bottom. Get some healing. Get some professional help. So that's how I ended up getting to a point where I was able to quit. But it was a long process. My husband begged me for years with tears in his eyes, please quit. You're going to die. And that wasn't even enough. Nothing was enough to make me quit.
Support is vital to so much too.
He didn't have a problem, but he quit when I quit, just to support me.
And he quit with you. That is awesome. And I know a lot of people, I've wondered about that, because I know a lot of people, that are in the bar scene, like before music, I was a bartender for 20 years. So I was always surrounded by it. And that's fuel for that fire also, to increase your habits, to increase anything and everything that you can come across once you're in that scene, And I've seen so many of my friends where one person would quit drinking, but the other one would still continue. And you don't hear too often that the significant other does decide to quit with you. And when I hear that they're willing to also do that, I'm sure, he saw the greater good, that it would help him down the line. But to come to that understanding that it's more than just about what he wants, it's about also knowing that he would have more of a future with you. And I'm sure that's exactly what the significant other see, is that, when they make that sacrifice too. Well, I wouldn't say sacrifice, choice. I'm using the wrong word. I apologize. Not sacrifice, but the choice to sober up also, and to stand by your side, not just as support, but to take every step with you along the way. So mad respect to your husband for being the ultimate rock, not just for you to lean on, but well, I guess to walk with if if rocks have legs, But I mean, that's so amazing. So tell him I said thank you
Okay.
for standing by your side. I mean, you're an absolutely amazing person, not just musician. Besides music, this goes beyond music. This is you as a person. You're a beautiful person, and I don't think, I think we did meet a few years ago, but I don't think we really started talking to the last 5 or 6 years more often. But you're an amazing person through and through. And, and I really, again, I thank you for being on here. So I got a quick question, then I'll let the girls go. Before you came to the decision that you wanted to stop drinking, okay, before you started seeing it as maybe you do have a problem, before any of that happened, I'm sure you had friends when you were still in your prime that were starting to quit on their own before you, correct? Or no?
No, everybody I was around partied pretty hard. That was like the foundation
Okay.
for a lot of friendships, unfortunately. So I lost pretty much every friend I had except for my husband. He was my only friend for a few years.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And I knew that could happen. I counted the cost and I was willing. And it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. But, people move on. We change, we grow, we adapt.
Absolutely.
They have a right to live how they want to live. I'm not going to stand in the way of that. If they're happy doing that, they can do that. And I'm happy doing this. Yeah.
And you're kicking ass doing it. I'm just saying. With everything
Thank you.
do, with everything. Ladies, whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, how hard is it to go into the venues now and not necessarily be around it, but watching all the other people be belligerent?
It's not very often. I understand it's a someone who's very hurt. That's the first thing I see. I don't go, oh, what an a-hole. I go, oh my gosh. That's my first thought is that was me. I know that, something's broken inside.
See, and I have a history, like with Fran. I was a bartender. I've seen it all. I've toured. So I can see it from both sides. But I remember thinking, like, we had one of our band members get sober, and he was quitting everything. I mean, he was on everything and drank everything. And I watched him struggle, but he didn't want to give up the band. He wanted to give up that part of his life. And I saw the conflict in it. Did you have that when you first started going back, or?
So I joined my band. I've been sober 13 years, but I joined my band like 8 or 9 years ago. And one of the conditions was, if I'm going to work with you guys, I don't want to see alcohol. I don't want to smell alcohol. No drinking in the practice space while I'm here. And they respected that, and they have always respected that. It's never been a problem. And if it was, I wouldn't be working with them. It's that simple.
That's awesome.
We respected them too, but it was more of watching. We had shows planned out. We were going into bars. We were going into those venues and watching him on stage wrestle with himself and watching it. You could tell he was like craving it. Watching from the bar nonstop, and we felt so bad, and we didn't drink around him.
Yeah.
But it was just those situations. It was tough. It wasn't like that when you went back. I mean.
So I can imagine he's probably dealing with nerves, and the way that a lot of people deal with stage fright is they drink. So I actually have a few tips I'd like to share.
I will, you know what, I'm going to jump in on this one. I am one of them. And I know a lot of people don't know this, but the people who know me back home, when I book shows, of course, I become an MC for my own shows. And I am terrified. I'm calling myself out. I have no problem doing it. I have stage fright. And the way I handle it is, and it's funny because I'm running an entire production. I mean, Kristy has seen me, I run an entire production. I'm doing it all from beginning to end. And the easiest part is the one thing that terrifies me the most. And that's just getting on stage and introducing everyone and saying hello and thank you for being here. The easiest part of my job from shows. And I'm terrified. And I literally, and people that know me, within the last hour of my shows, I'm like this, shaking. And it freaks me out because I know I'm going to see heads, and I'm not used to that. And everyone freaks out because they're like, you do YouTube though. You do this. How that, makes no sense. I'm not seeing any heads other than the people I'm talking to right now.
Right.
So it's easy for me. It's easy for me to do this. No problem doing it sober. No issues whatsoever. This is just like hanging out with friends, but when I get on stage, I'm terrified. So I will slam 4 or 5, sometimes 6 shots of Jaeger. Everyone knows I'm a Jägermeister fanatic. And I will slam that, in the last one and be 15 minutes before I go on stage. And am I drunk? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm 5'7" and I'm a big girl. I can take it. But I need that to and does it work? Minorly. By the end of the night, I'm still shaking. I'm still shaking. But so this is actually something I brought up with Kristy, and she said she can help me out with this to relieve me. So, this is another direction to go instead of feeling that I need to have that drink to settle my nerves, to settle my anxiety, to get on stage. Other options I can have. So this is something I actually would love to hear. So thank you.
Moving into this though, me as a lead singer, I could get up on stage, I'd be okay. But doing the same thing of me emceeing my shows, and I'm a nervous wreck. Yeah. I do not want to get up there and talk, but I had no problem. I think it was more I had the band behind me. But I do the same thing, and I'll shoot me a couple shots of Patron before I go up.
Friend, what's your trigger when you get on stage? What
is it all the eyeballs?
You know what? Luckily, this is the first. Okay, so the first time I went on stage, I wouldn't say the first time, but when I started being more consistent with booking shows, which was about 3-4 years ago. First thing I noticed was, and I had a really big show booked. It was actually about 3 years ago. I had a really big show booked. There was about 300-400 people, and I was terrified. Because I was like, it's not 20 heads. And when I got on stage, I even said right there in the microphone, clear as day for everyone. And I'm like, the lighting makes it feel me. For once, I like the lighting on the stage. I hate taking pictures of lighting. Everyone knows that. Everyone hates photos, with bands because of the lighting. It destroys everything. Yeah. So from the stage side, now I'm looking out to where the audience is. You cannot see 80% of your audience. At least you can't see them because the lights are all over them. Oh, you can hear them clear as day, but you can't see their head. See 50 heads, which still makes me a little nervous, but easier. So I think the lights when I'm on stage, so it helps. But I don't know. I've just never been the type to go on stage, but yet it's weird because being a bartender, everyone says you would think that you don't mind everyone watching you and this and that. I'm like, well, bartending is easy because people just come up to you at the bar and want to drink, and 90% of them get the fuck out of your face.
And it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
Right, and they just go on, so it's like whatever, but sometimes, but even as a bartender, a lot of us are allowed to drink, while we're working, and sometimes we've all seen it where some bartenders don't even make it through a shift. That was me 24 years ago, when I couldn't even make it through a shift. I didn't remember it, and then when you do it sober, it's a big 180 when you try to stay on top of everything, because now you're not as entertaining for for your customers. So you're not going to make as much money. It's like all this factors into it. So it's like the money gave me the extra push to have those extra couple of shots. So I can settle down with my anxiety and my nerves and be more entertaining for the people. So it's like, I'm literally like satisfying myself, but for all the wrong reasons at the same time. And money, root of all evil.
Well, some of it's preventative. The way to avoid, you can kind of avoid getting nerves by throughout the day, drink. Second, you get in those stage lights, they're hot, you're going to get dehydrated real quick. Drink extra water. Eat really good. Eat something very nutritious. When you eat good food, you should feel like, wow, I have energy. I want to go run around, not like, oh, I need a nap. That's how you know you ate something.
I can run a limp.
Good.
That's about it. I can run a limp. If I run around for 30 seconds without limping, it's a good thing.
Another way to beat getting nerves is to over prepare. So if you're doing a speech, I know you said you like to wing it, but what if you just wrote some bullet points on your hand and then
I wouldn't be able to see them.
Oh, or just practice your speech, or like as a musician or a singer, over practice. Do it over and over and over. And then when you get up on stage, it becomes muscle memory. You already know what to do. Or pre-record yourself singing or listen to a recording of your song over and over, it'll get ingrained into your subconscious. It'll become like second nature when you get up there. Your muscle memory will take over. So that's another way. But a lot of stage fright is actually like you're going into fight or flight mode. So it's your nervous system.
Yeah.
Another preventative thing is a lot of shampoos have excessive amounts of biotin or B vitamins.
Shampoos. You said shampoos?
And food, yeah, shampoo, vitamins, sometimes they have an excessive amount of like biotin or B vitamins, and you're putting it right on your scalp, and then next thing you know, you're gonna be kind of shaky because it affects your nervous system. It's just too much. So be mindful of that.
Well, you just blew my mind. I've never considered that shampoo. It, chemical. I mean, I get it because you do have your pores, so everything does get into your system one way or another. But I never would have ever thought that shampoo can actually counteract your natural body chemistry. It
can kind of like overexcite your nervous system.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that's from excess B vitamins. So be mindful. Yeah, and then to deactivate the fight or flight mode, one thing you can do is put something cold on the back of your neck, or splash cold water on your face, or take a really deep breath. That also, when you're on stage, the second you get out there, you take 2 seconds to just, you got 2 seconds, right? They can wait 2 seconds for you to take a deep breath, and it'll deactivate a lot of those nerves. It doesn't sound like it could, but it does. It really does. Your nervous system is that sensitive. Also, if you stand tall, it's going to cause you to release certain hormones, and it's just going to make you feel more confident. And that's just in general. So try it right now. Stand real tall. Get your back straight.
If I stand up, all you're going to see is belly.
But it'll instantly give you a little boost of confidence. And sometimes it helps to put on a character. If you're about to go on stage and you feel a little nervous, okay, I'm going to pretend to be whatever, James Hetfield. I'm going to be a roaring lion and I'm going to strut like I own the place, right? So that's another thing you can do. It's like a mental trick. But those are just a few things. Yeah, but a lot of it's preventative. So over practice, eat really good, drink extra water, and remember, take that real deep breath. And that'll deactivate a lot of the nerves.
I'm going to try to remember this for the next show. I mean, we're on, I'm taking a break right now because I'm trying to get used to switching everything over and all the new things that, are coming our way for Savages. But then next year I do plan on booking shows again. But I got plenty of time to breathe and
stand tall, shoulders back.
So I have no problem, like I said, calling myself out. I'm some of the best people. And I don't consider myself like the best of the best, of course not. But even the best, most professional people have anxiety, have nerves, and have different. So anything I can get out of the slam 5 shots, because yes, it'll help relieve me. But guess what? 10, 20 minutes later, guess who's buzzed? And I'll be done with the stage by then. And then it's like, okay, now I got to practice. Now I got to run the production, which is fine. I can still do it because after that, I won't drink for a couple hours again because I did that. But it's not something I want to keep doing either. I mean, we all need to learn control on many things. That's definitely something I could use the help with. On many reasons. Any reason I can not go to a bottle. Just not just because, but the emotional value, like Kristy was saying. I mean, everyone's our emotions are tied to right away, trying to bury it. And what happens when you try to bury your emotion or what you're going through at home and you start drinking, you start becoming a different person. Not just because you're getting buzzed, but like Kristy said, not just after she quit, but I'm sure, you were probably, there's there's people that are close to you in your life that you will lose during that time.
And because sick people don't think straight. They're not, the addiction always wins. Like you could threaten me with, we'll never be friends again. And I would have still picked the addiction because sick people don't think straight. That's That's the choice. You can
You
give
know,
me an ultimatum and this and that,
right.
and it's just going to make me resent you and not, you know,
Right.
and hold on tighter to my.
And if you say anything in your defense, you know, they can turn against you for that, you know, and then try to, you know, and they're not seeing that you're trying to be there for them and you tried to do everything you could, you know, and you still want to help them. But if they're not willing to help themselves and they're just, you know, sticking that nail through that board and making it deeper and deeper,
You have to let them. That's the
you know,
unfortunate and really difficult part is it's their choice. You
right.
have
And
to.
that's how they end up, you know, you end up losing a lot of friends when you're drinking and you don't realize that
Yeah.
the things that you're creating in your head, you know, the things that you say, you know, you start talking, you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do because it
Exactly.
is
Even
taken over
after.
and you know, it is taken over. And, you know, I've lost quite a few friends,
Even
unfortunately.
after I quit, I was still making bad choices. It took a while because consider this. I became an alcoholic in my teens, and I didn't quit till I was in my 30s. So I'm 31 learning how to be an adult for the first time. I'm 31 learning how to celebrate, do this, how to do that, how to see my parents, how to, you know, everything without it. Good days, bad days. It's like this whole new life that I feel like I stayed 14 until I quit, and then I suddenly became an adult. And so I was still making funky choices for a little while.
So now when, you know, when you finally are in that path where you're on the right path and you were moving forward, it wasn't, I mean, it's always going to be a fight for the rest of your life. You know, when they say that, you know, I know people who have quit drinking for 30 years and they say, I'm not an alcoholic anymore, but yet they don't want alcohol in their house. Now that, you know, which I respect, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not, they don't want it there for a reason because the temptation will always follow them. It might trigger something, you know, not everyone has the right strength, mind, you know, mind wise to know what they're doing, to know what they're saying, or have the strength to say no. So they don't want it in the house for that reason, you know, and I respect, you know, that I love people and respect people that, you know, say, Fran, if you're coming over, please, you know, don't have a drink, you know, don't bring it here and don't smell like it. You know, they're like, especially Jaeger of all things, you know, and, you know, and I respect that, you know, and I get that, but it's still a battle. So when somebody says, oh, you know, when, you know, I've heard, you know, I do have friends that have, you know, or their parents more who haven't drinking in 30 years or whatever. And they, you know, and they say, oh, you know, I'm not an alcoholic anymore, but yet would you still think that way if you weren't tempted?
I'll always consider myself an alcoholic. It's a condition for me that just doesn't, it'll always be there. I always have to guard my sobriety like my life depends on it, because it does. But I'm not like so hyper vigilant that I'm gonna end friendships just because someone smelled like alcohol once, you know? It's because that's on me to remove myself from that situation. They're not doing anything wrong. They're enjoying their life, you know? They didn't do
Right.
nothing to me. So it's up to me to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Did you
not
ever feel like people were attacking you and that you didn't see anything you were doing or saying as the problem, that it was them?
like when I quit.
Yeah. Or no, when you were drinking, like if somebody would try to tell you, hey, you know, try to tell you something, you know, that
Right.
you should know
My
about as a
husband.
friend, but then, you know, you felt like you were being, you know, like they were attacking you and they're just trying to talk to you, but because you're drinking.
Not attacking, but I felt like people, if they suggested that I quit, I felt like they were trying to control me, and it would make me want to drink more. You think
Yeah.
you control me? I control me. And, you know, I'm going to do what I want. And it would actually get me to drink more. I
Do
hate
it
to say
more.
that, but
Yeah.
that's the irrational
So
logic
it's
that
still
I
a trigger.
had.
So it's a trigger one way or another.
It's an illness, you
Yeah.
know. Now that's silly, but at the moment it felt very real, very important to me that I assert my control over my life. I'm
Right.
going to do what I want, even if it's harmful to me. It's my choice. You know, it was kind of like that.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, here in the music scene, especially us in the heavy metal or the rock and roll, their slogan was sex, drug, and rock and roll forever. And watching the artists from like the 80s, not only alcoholics, but they were heavy into drugs.
Mhm.
And watching them be sober now, it's like, it's night and day from what we were used to growing up. And I lost my mother to an OD in 2019.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
I totally get that. She thought we were all attacking her when we were telling her, "Hey, look, you're getting bad. Hey, look." She always, "Oh, you're just attacking me. Oh, I'm just, this is my life." Okay, well, your life is affecting my life.
Yeah.
Because she was on meth, and it destroyed me and her. I didn't talk to her for almost 14 years to protect my son. She was like, "Oh, well, you're attacking me from living my life." No, I'm not. I'm protecting mine from you. And I still see that even nowadays and I do have friends that are not drinking and, but if I make a comment like to, my dad's a really good one. He's an alcoholic. And I'm like, "Hey, you're getting bad again." "Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not. Well, I'm nervous. I'm nervous." It's every excuse. So I guess in their mind, I can see where they think we're attacking them, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
But I've watched a lot of recoveries, and I've also lost a lot of people due to it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like you being the female, not only female, but you're being sober, and what issues have you kind of had to face head on with it?
Like being female, I think whether you're male or female, sobriety is hard work.
Well, I know that. I'm saying, what, as far as in the music industry, have you came up against?
People are actually respectful. They understand, like sometimes people will try to buy shots and I just say no thank you, and it's really no big deal. I think if it was 20 years ago, people would have put up more of a fight about it.
Right.
But nowadays, I think it's becoming more the norm. Even seeing more women in metal, I think, should be normal. Shouldn't be, oh, wow, that's different. It shouldn't,
Right.
for now it is, I guess, a little bit. But I'm hoping that eventually, it'll be 50-50.
Right.
And it is going that direction. I see a lot of kids getting into it too. So it's like, the generations coming after us, they're good. I think there's going to be a good balance between male and females in the metal scene in general. But I remember 20 years ago, you heard about someone getting sober. It was like, oh, big deal.
Right.
Everyone freaked out. Like, that's not metal. That's not cool. But now, I think people are starting to respect it because we value our life. The world is so crazy right now. It's like, choose your battles. Like, this is not a bad thing. I'm not out, wanting to harm people. I'm wanting to better myself. And I think people are starting to get it and respect it.
Kristy, what kept you going through your sobriety?
My husband, for sure, because all you need is that one friend, that one sober friend to have sober fun with. We would ride bikes. We had to get creative. I didn't know how to live without alcohol. I always went, let's go to the bar. Let's go drink at the woods. Let's go drink here. Everything revolved around that. So with my husband, we had to get creative. Like, oh, let's go to this library event. Let's go ride bikes. Let's have a picnic. Let's. So it was it was different, a lot of new experiences, but it was also kind of lonely for a while.
I get that. So now you said that now you've been with your band for 7, 8 years, you said, and you've been sober obviously for 13 amazing years.
Yeah.
When you were ready to come back to stage, how did you mentally prepare yourself for that, knowing that you were going to be surrounded by the exact environment that you walked away from?
I put a lot of thought and consideration into everything I do. And I thought long and hard, you prepare in advance. Here's what I'll do in this situation. Here's what I do in that, prepare to run. I'll walk out. I'll say this. I'll do, you prepare in advance. I like to be prepared. And that helps a lot. So far, I don't really deal with temptation. The only time I ever actually felt tempted in the last 13 years was when someone close to me almost died, and it was very upsetting, and that was the only time. And I had a long talk with myself, and I said, nope, We're not going to ever do this. That's the worst thing to do. So that's the only time it came kind of close.
Yeah.
But I was okay. Everything
That's
turned
And
out.
how did you deal with that? What did you do in order to overcome that grief?
I surround myself with with people who are like-minded, who are healthy-minded. I'm always looking to make new friends. I reach out to people and say, hey, let's have coffee. So I always try to surround myself in positivity, not just people, but also in my home. My home is clean, it's bright, because my subconscious knows there's a pile of crap in that closet. I gotta clean it.
Yeah.
Your subconscious knows, and it'll keep you awake till you take care of those things. I don't have piles of papers, I clear that away. A clean home is like a peaceful place. This is the place where I'm free to feel safe, and that's the most important thing to me, is feeling safe and free.
Right.
And having a little bit of structure in my life. And it's a matter of developing new habits. That's the thing with any addiction, whether it's, drink or chocolate or soda.
Yeah. Yeah.
The main part of that addiction is actually the dopamine that you get every time you use or drink or whatever it is, or eat a bite of chocolate. It's that the substance itself does to you, but it's the dopamine that gets released every time you drink a soda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when you go to quit something, a lot of what you're dealing with is that massive dopamine withdrawal. So you have to replace the old habit with something new. So new adventures, new experiences. Maybe start riding a bike or go swimming or take an ice cold shower. It's a way to get like a thrill or a rush. Something new, a new hobby, new friends. You can't just rip something away. You have to replace it. You always got to replace it. You got to change gears. And that's one way I dealt with, like going to shows. Yeah, there's going to be people drinking. So I can change gears. I can go outside, get some fresh air. I can go make a phone call. But the thing is, when you first quit, it's going to be really awkward, extremely awkward for the first couple of years. You won't know what to do with your hands. You won't know how to talk. You won't know.
See, for me, that's just being Italian. If you tie my hands, actually, I think my mouth will still go. I mean, who are we kidding? I'll find a way. I'll still get that. I'll make the conversation happen. But yeah, it's basically you're trading a negative vice for a positive vice. Just
Pretty much.
You just got to find your happy place.
And it's a matter of making new habits. So imagine if you made a new habit every day, like one tiny little thing. Like let's say between breakfast and lunch, you like to snack on chocolates or chips. What if you swapped that out for something else entirely, like apple slices? So that's one little thing. And let's say you did that every day. And then the next day you swap out another habit. Oh, usually I have this, Lucky Charms for breakfast, but today I'm going to start having oatmeal instead. So that's 2 new habits. And by the end of the month, you swap out one tiny little thing. It's not even a major life-shattering change. But by the end of that month, if you did one thing every day, you have a whole new life. And you're going to feel better if you're eating better. And, maybe another new thing is you go to bed 30 minutes early. Just 30 minutes earlier than the night before. And all these new habits lead to this entirely new life. And give yourself goals and things to look forward to in the future. That's another way to help. Like if someone's looking to overcome addiction, it's not just new habits, but give yourself a future to look forward to. Plan coffee dates or plan a museum date or, with yourself or a walk in the park or, one thing I started doing is going for a walk every morning before it gets too hot out. I go just walk around my building and that's it. So these tiny little habits eventually lead to like an entirely new life that you can't even imagine today how you could feel in 30 days. It's hard to imagine better, especially if you have chronic pain or addiction. I know it might be hard to imagine, but self-care a lot of times is just developing those new habits, having patience with ourselves. That's the cool thing about being a grown-up is we get to be our own best caregiver now.
Right.
Yeah.
I get to make sure I'm safe now. I get to make sure I get to eat every time I'm hungry now. I get to make sure, I can go to the pool whenever I want. I'm a grown up. I can do what I want
Mhm.
within reason. But that's the cool thing about being a grown up is now I can make sure I get the very best care. I can go to the doctor if I need to. I can withdraw from using this or that if I get to that point. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, hey, I need fresh air for 5 minutes. Just incorporating these new techniques for self-care and self-soothing. Learn about self-soothing. That helps a lot, just in general, whether it's you're dealing with addiction or not.
Yeah. Quick question, Kristy. Have you ever been a mentor for somebody who, in AA, or, somebody that,
No.
can call you if they ever, need someone to talk to help stop them from making that choice? If something happens that's overwhelming to them, instead of turning to the bottle or to the can, whatever the case is. Have you ever considered being a mentor, or have you done that in the past?
I don't announce it, but I am available if anybody wanted to, like, is in that kind of moment and they need to talk. Find me. I'm Kristy Tallica on Instagram and Facebook. Message me anytime if you're
I
dealing with
think
that.
you'd be an amazing spokeswoman,
Thank
Yes.
you.
especially for the music scene, to discuss something like this. It's not, this, I mean, everyone's got a different story,
Mhm.
but it all begins with the same problem. And and some people, not everyone knows somebody that they're comfortable, that they can go to. Sometimes you need to reach out sometimes to someone who doesn't know, that you don't know, because you don't know anyone you can turn to. So if there's someone out there who can relate to your story, who can stand with you and just give you options, guidance, great advice, different options on how to go about things, I think you'd be an amazing mentor, and and a spokeswoman for something like that, especially in the scene
Thank
where
you.
it's part of the lifestyle.
Don't attend meeting. I used to. I used to attend meetings, a few different organizations, and I did gain a lot from it. So I'm not going to say don't do that. I'm going to say definitely, if anyone's
Mhm.
thinking about getting help, that's a great place to start. Also, as I said earlier, the thing that helped me the most was getting healing of the mental stuff, because when you have something in your mind that really bothers you, it's not going to just go away. You can't ignore it. You can't distract yourself. It might work for a little while, but it'll always be there because it's unresolved. You have to get that stuff resolved. And the only way to do it sometimes is with professional help. And one very important thing I want to say is, if you cannot afford a counselor, there's programs in your area. A lot of townships have programs. Salvation Army has programs. Whatever your beliefs are, they don't care. They'll help you get in touch with a professional licensed counselor. And it could be either free or based on sliding scale, whatever your income is. But I want
Yeah,
to strongly encourage everyone, get it,
yeah.
because that's a great place to start.
Yeah, you can lose so much more than just friends or your job. I've had a couple of DUIs. It's in the past, and I don't remember any of them. And a lot of my behavior was all before my car accident, which was in 2018. I really believe that accident, even though it almost took my life, it gave me a second chance to start over. Now, like I said, it's after my brain started coming back and I was able to start thinking, like I told Kristy, after about 6 months after my accident, my brain activity was getting strong again. I looked at my parents and I said, "Don't I smoke?" Out of nowhere, And my mom, she's strong at times. She's like, "No, Fran, no." And right away I was like, "I do, and I smoke Camel Blue," and right in my mom's like, "Shit," and here I am smoking again. But I also remembered I was drinking, and that's when it started clicking in my head that everyone that I partied with before my accident, only 2 or 3 actually came to see me in the hospital, because it wasn't known if I was going to make it out or not in the beginning, and almost none of them, even to this day,
You find out
talk to
who
me.
your true friends
Almost none
are.
of them talk to me, because I wasn't drinking, I wasn't partying anymore, but I was fighting for my life. Of course I'm not going to do it, but then when I started showing signs of coming back, I started staying away because they showed to me who they were. It's like, dude, I was always there for you guys. I did everything, that you needed help. You needed someone to talk to. I was there. You called in the middle of the night. I was there. You asked for help with this, that, I was always there, drinking or not. But the minute you make the decision, the minute you start realizing who your real friends are, because they're not turning, they're not talking to you, they're turning on you, or they're trying to cause problems, because you're a different person, or they might see it as maybe something they're not getting their way, or they want their old you back. They're doing you a favor by finally just walking away and just not saying nothing anymore, and just let them rant, let them do their thing. I wish them the best. I still see them occasionally in bars, and you sense that distance. And it's just like, what? I'm glad you're doing okay. Good to see you. And I move on, but I don't black out anymore. I know how I'm getting home every night. I don't wake up to stories. I don't wake up in jail, it's, so it's like, did I stop drinking? No, but I dramatically cut back. Blackouts are not my goal anymore.
Some people are okay and they don't need to quit, but like for me, I had to quit. Yeah.
After my rape, I spiraled. Of course, I spiraled out of control with my drinking. It took me going inside and getting in trauma therapy. It took my doctor sitting there going, "You're going to do this. You're going to be, focused on it. You've got to go through trauma therapy. You don't have an option because you're going to kill yourself." And the trauma therapy has helped immensely. And I can't thank enough. I lost a lot of friends afterwards because I wasn't okay with doing what they were doing. I wasn't okay with, they were like, "Oh, well, it's because you're in therapy." No, it's not. It's because I'm protecting my sanity. I left the city for almost 4 months because I was spiraling that much out of control where I couldn't control myself. And I remember getting drunk one night and I called my ex-husband and I told him, I said, "You can either come get me or you're going to find me with a bullet in my head." He drove all night. He had semi. He drove all night to make sure he got me because that's how far I had sunk, because that alcohol, yes, it numbed me. But the minute I came sobered up, my problem was 10 times worse than it was to begin with, because I had to keep reliving it. Mm-hmm. And I started drinking, and it was just a vicious cycle. And watching it now, I go back and I think about it and I'm like, what the hell was I running for? Why wasn't I getting the help back then? What would I do? But PTSD is a bitch.
Yes.
And it keeps PTSD just the nightmares and drinking. I thought, oh, well, I'm not having nightmares. Well, come find out I was having nightmares. I just wasn't remembering them because I was either blackout drunk or to the point of exhaustion. But once I got to therapy, and I agree with you, yes, they helped. The trustee's office has helped me for my trauma therapy because it's not cheap. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. But the trustees help around here, the Goodwill, Salvation Armies, most churches. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you also have some counselors and psychiatrists that work pro bono.
There are, and having past experience, I can say this too. They do have, when you get DUIs, like in Illinois, they make you take DUI classes as part of your sentencing. Some people, depending on what the sentence is, how many DUIs, whatever, either way, they give you hours. You got to go to DUI classes. And a lot of those classes, because I've been sent twice, a lot of those classes, there's a lot of people who actually are sober who come to those DUI classes. They just got to pay, a small donation is usually all they ask. Technically it's free. A lot of them are free, but if you want to come in for your own reasoning, if you need someone to talk to, or you just feel that you just need to be around people to hear their story, to help you feel better about what you're going through or ease your pain at that moment. There was always people coming in throwing $10, into, the payment, saying, I just need to be here, because they had that fight. They were fighting a current, their whatever they were going through, whether it was addiction from 10 years ago or something they're trying to beat now. And that is an option too. So even if you've never had a DUI, nobody's going to judge you for walking in that class. But it is another idea. If you don't want to go to church, if you don't want to call the police, and because some people will be like, no, because my name's on the radar, which a lot of people will say that. There are ways to go about it quietly, without religion, without going, asking, looking at. There are many options out there for people who need someone to talk to or need some place to go.
And resources are abundant.
211 is amazing. The United Health, whatever it is, United Way. 211 on your phone. You call that and you tell them what you need, and they give you abundance of resources.
Is that nationwide or?
It is.
What is it called?
It's 211. It's United.
211, like on the phone. 211.
Yep.
Okay. Do you got to hit pound or
United
anything?
Way. United Way.
Okay.
And no pound. It's just 211. You can call from landline, your cell phone, anything, and it's directly to them. And they're able to give you resources to food banks, counselors, home health assistants, everything.
That's good to know. There are many things out there. So, Kristy, have you ever had a show that you worked where it was an AA show where there was no alcohol?
No.
No. I have some of those, and
I never heard of that before.
There's I have actually gotten invites to some shows where it is an AA show. Like, it's not Alcoholic Anonymous, anonymous throwing it.
But it's a dry show.
But it is a dry show, not because the venue doesn't have the alcohol, not because of that, because it's a show with a purpose, to show, it's a show to show people you can have fun with the music scene and not be surrounded by people who are getting all hammered, that there are many like you who are still also into metal.
I'm sorry.
That kind of 20 years ago, 25 years ago, going to shows, like, drinking was a very huge part of it, like getting as messed up as you could. But I think all of us are aging together, and we're all, everyone has families and businesses now and responsibilities and a babysitter to relieve and things like that. And now, like, people are calling for, hey, let's start the shows a little earlier. Can we start a little earlier? Can we have more? My thing is, I love to eat. Can we have more food options? Since I'm not drinking, I'm just gonna get
Just getting your munch on, girl.
Water. I'm gonna get a bottle of water. That's no fun. I want to eat. So I wish more bar owners would listen to that type of suggestion, and maybe it won't work for everyone. Maybe
and a lot of them won't in the venue and the bars, because that's where their money is. They don't, and I have heard, from a couple bar owners and venue owners in the past 10, 15 years, it's like, they're for the cause, they're not against it, but it hurts their business.
And imagine, from my standpoint, how weird it is that I don't want to promote drinking, yet that's my purpose of being there, is to entertain people, whether they're drinking or not at a bar. Not everybody's drinking, obviously, but I understand that my purpose is to entertain the bar patrons, to get them to stay longer, maybe order more, whatever. But yeah, I think it would be really cool if they had other options, other ways for revenue with food or merch or games, something. I don't know. There's got to be other options, because it's my observation people don't drink the way they used to. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just maybe. And I'm usually working, so I don't totally pay attention, at the shows, or even if I'm just going to a show just to see a show. To me, I go into work mode, and I still want to take pictures. I still want to, go live for the bands, even if it's not a Savage event. That's just what I do. That's my way to extend, helping bands beyond my own shows. It's not always about my shows. It's about the bands. That's why I created Savages to begin with, but, if there was, that could be an amazing music weekend. How there's always like camp weekends, and stuff like that. Having AA, everybody comes out 20 pounds heavier. Eat, munch, do it.
I think it's safe to call myself a sober fun expert at this point.
Sober fun expert.
Yeah, I think it's okay to call myself that.
It's not a bad thing.
So for example, the first thing I did when I quit drinking was I went and got my GED. And to celebrate, I was like, I want to fill my bedroom with balloons. So that's what I did. And then I just kicked balloons around. It was great. So it's a matter of, being a little more creative. But yeah, I love the idea of a dry show.
That'd be an interesting idea.
It would be a cool, kind of like a learning experience for a lot of people. Like, oh, I didn't realize this could be fun too.
Right.
Yeah.
See, we do have those around here.
That's awesome.
We have where the bands will go out and rent the shelter houses. And it's for all ages, but there's no alcohol that they actually sell. Or they, if people bring it with them, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not supplied. And we have the best turnouts because you get the adults there that don't do drinking or partying. You get the younger crowds, which, if you notice, our younger crowd does not drink like we did.
Right.
And that amazes me.
I think they it seems that they want to be more alert. They want experiences. And when I was, actively in that, I wasn't remembering what I was even doing, blacking out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
I mean, and it is, we always say, oh, live in the moment, live in the moment. And I'm glad that this generation is actually doing that. I mean, maybe on their phone recording it, but they're experiencing it and they're remembering it.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love playing all ages shows.
Kristy,
I make sure
you talk about PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going through that. I also have panic attacks,
Okay.
anxiety. How do you deal with that on a daily basis?
It's been a couple of years since I've had a legit panic attack. I used to have them so bad I would hide under the kitchen table, and eliminating a lot of stress from my life certainly helped. Change jobs if you need to, because that'll really your physical health and your mental health. The other thing I'm noticing is we're all extremely sensitive to everything. We just don't realize it. We are so used to the toxic world that we don't feel sick, but we are. And so once you start removing a lot of the toxins from your life, you become sensitive again, which is a good thing. It sucks because you might get a lot of headaches. I get headaches from all kinds of chemicals and things because I removed it from my life. But that's one way to deal with anxiety is from within, like how we eat, drink extra water, even if you don't feel thirsty. I know that I'm becoming dehydrated because I start getting more emotional than I should be. Like I'll feel like, hey, my emotions right now seem kind of irrational. Why am I so upset about this thing that happened earlier? Oh, you know what? I haven't drank any water for the last 3 hours. Sometimes it's that simple. Taking care of your body, getting enough sleep, that can make a major difference in your life. And it doesn't seem like it, but these tiny things end up making a huge difference. And it doesn't feel like it, but it will. So even just like that extra, go to bed extra 30 minutes earlier, and that can make a big difference in how you feel the next day. No matter what you're going through, whether it's grieving, stress, it helps. It does. All those little things matter. They don't seem to matter, but they do. Like I said, if you replace one tiny habit every day for 30 days, by the end of a month, you're living an entirely new life.
Right.
And it's the same with, anything. Little things make a big difference. Absolutely. It doesn't feel like it, but it does.
Oh, yeah. I say it all the time that it's the little things that matter more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
The little things do matter. They do count. The big shit does too.
The
But
other thing is,
a lot of the big shit can be prevented if you paid attention to those little things.
and self-talk matters
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Like, how do you talk to yourself? Are you kind? Are you patient? Are you gentle? Or do you say, damn it, why'd you do that?
That's me. That's me.
Have you
That's
ever
We
have
have
you
that.
ever
I yell at
experienced
myself all the time.
have you ever experienced a panic attack during a performance, and how did you deal with that?
One time I did because something really surprised me. And I had to continue the performance like everything was fine. It made me panic because it was just, it surprised me a lot. It was nothing bad, but I had to continue, the performance and sing and play like everything was fine. And then once the show was over, I went off by myself and I cried for a few minutes. And my husband checked on me and yeah, I was fine. Sometimes you don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it feels embarrassing, but I was able to manage it that time. But as far as monitoring your self-talk can make a huge difference in your life too, because we tend to tell ourselves negative things like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it, or I'm sick of this, or whatever it is. Pay attention to everything you think, every word you say to yourself. Is it kind? Is it patient? Is your inner parent being kind of mean and rude? Like, would you talk that way to an actual child? Then don't talk that way to yourself. We were all babies once. How do you regard a baby? You go, oh, little baby. You want to make sure the baby's safe and taken care of, the baby's fed, the baby's warm. Why can't you treat yourself like that? You're that baby. You're still that baby, right?
Yes.
It's valid. That's very true.
Yeah. So sometimes you do have to argue with your own brain, and that's okay. Like if you're in the midst of a battle, you're overcoming addiction or whatever it is, and your brain's like, I need this, I want this. You have the right to say, no, I don't need it, I just like it. Rephrasing, sometimes that can be powerful in your journey.
The choice of wording can make a big difference on everything. Everything. On your beliefs, the way you act, the way you say, the way you think, and it all makes a difference.
And your brain is going to take anything as supporting evidence to validate any belief that you choose. So if you choose to believe, I'm a loser or whatever, then you're going to start seeing things that are going to validate that, and you're going to cling on to that, like this validates my belief. But if I start telling myself, I'm a nice person or whatever, I'm a confident woman, then you're going to start noticing things that validate that. So that's why it's important to have really positive self-talk. You're going to make it come true eventually. You're going to get more of whatever you think about the most.
What do they call it? Manifesting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Manifesting and good vibes.
And affirmations.
Positivity.
Yeah.
Your subconscious mind is very powerful, and you can make a recording of yourself saying, I am strong, I am powerful, I'm able to overcome anything, I'm able to learn and grow. Like if you played that back, you'd be very strong.
Yeah. What is that?
Someone typing.
Oh, I'm like, I don't hear nothing. Just checking on something. No, okay. Yeah, just it's like I said, there's no judgment at all. A lot of my friends don't drink, and a lot of them know that I've cut back dramatically. But have I stopped? No, but I've cut back. I don't want it 7 days a week. I don't want to wake up shit faced in the morning. I already have enough problems waking up in the morning because I can't hear my alarm. I don't need to, feed that fire. It's like I have things I still want to do the next day that I want to wake up to. In general, not just waking up, but also be there on time and live, and just move forward with savages. Like we all have goals, and the alcohol is not going to help us get there. And then and I need it to help calm me? I do. Every day, no. I mean, I'm a walking stress ball. I have no problem calming.
You need it or you like it.
But I feel that it's like sometimes what happens with me is like you get it's just one thing. If it's one of those days where it's like one thing after another, like the day is just going so wrong on multiple levels. And it's like, dude, today's just been shit. And it's not even 12 o'clock lunchtime yet. I'm already over today. How many of us have said that? You know? And
Yeah.
what do you do as soon as you get that, as soon as if it's bad enough, I will change. I'll make a half hour change in my plans. And I'll go to the liquor store. So
I would take a nap.
Yeah. I definitely can, I get plenty of sleep too, but, I don't mind getting more. I'm okay with that, but, there's too, it's like, and I'm pretty good at fighting myself a lot, so, cause I keep thinking about who I was several years ago when I let all my inhibitions go out the window and all I cared about was, nope, what matters is tonight. I'll worry about tomorrow when it comes. And then the next day I'm canceling half my shit because I'm waking up too hungover, or I'm not waking up on time, or I don't feel good. And I'm trying to tell people I'm feeling sick when I know I did damn well that I did it to myself. I don't want to do that anymore. And that's why I've cut back. Now, should I stop? Probably. I don't doubt that I should for a second, but I've cut back dramatically, and I just cutting back, not doing it 7 days a week. I mean, all of that makes a difference, and then and that's when I started looking at my friends who still do it all the time. And I'm like, was I like that? Was I that person? Did I really go that far? Did I really destroy friendships? Did I really say that? Things like that. Did I do things like that? Because somebody hurt me or I misunderstood something because I was drunk, I'm gonna blow it out of proportion to make me feel better and get back at the other people who actually never really did nothing to me, but I was too drunk to realize it, or I had too many drinks and just wasn't thinking the way it really should be, and I've lost friends because of drinking, and I've lost friends because I quit drinking because I was forced to for the accident. So it's like, I was damned if I do, damned if I don't, but I also found out who really wanted to be there for me. So I consider that a blessing, in a lot of ways. And then when I see friends that go next level, I have friends that are very close to me that I love very much, that drink every single day, and I'm around them all the time, and they're just like, you want one? No, I'm good. They're like, oh, but you'll have a cigarette. Well, that's different. I smoke, but it's, it's hard. It is, if I was to stop drinking altogether, I wonder, could I? And if I really wanted to, but I don't know, it's the bad, because that's just a question you have to ask yourself.
And the answer is just not today, maybe
Right.
tomorrow.
Exactly. And that's what we all do. We all start saying, not today. I got this and this coming up. I have this coming up and I'm really stressed. It's like, we're always constantly making excuses to delay to get something done, or to not do something that's actually better for us because we have other obligations that are more important. So we need that as a fallback to handle our stress for the other obligations. It's like, we're constantly creating excuses for ourselves. And I'm one of those people. And I know it.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I want to say thank you so much. This was an amazing topic that I really, really am glad that we got to talk about. Kristy, thank you so much for taking the time out to be here with us and telling us your story.
Yeah,
and,
anytime.
And it's, and I appreciate you also offering, that reach out for anyone who wants to talk to somebody that, understands what you have gone through, what you are going through, what, you might go through at home. Everyone has a story. Yeah. And sometimes all you need is the right person to listen that can help guide you.
Someone who's been there. That's me. I've been through it, and here I am. And now I'm living life for real. Like, I always lived for real, but now I feel like I'm more conscious. I'm more able to fully enjoy it. I enjoyed it before, but now I enjoyed it even more. Which is hard to fathom, but it is possible. Yeah, and so my big thing I would say is just don't judge your future based on how you feel right now.
I love those.
Because miracles happen all the time. They happen every day. Good things happen to everyone every day. Things can change for the better very unexpectedly. And it's a wonderful hope to hang on to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ladies, would you like to ask her anything else or say anything to our fans?
Citizen Soldier actually has a song, and they're an amazing band. It's called Tattoos. It says, survive the story because you never know the ending. And that is what got me through a lot of my PTSD, and through the trauma of it all.
Right.
And I think that you're living proof that it can be done, not only done in life, but also in the music
Yes.
industry, that there is proof that it can be done. And I want to thank you and congratulate you on those 13 years of sobriety. That is amazing. And
Thanks, Kristy.
congratulate you on leading your life the way you do.
Hey, Chrissy.
Kristy, thank you so much for giving us the tips. I was, thinking, should I go to therapy? Should I not? But after you speaking about PTSD and me going through these panic attacks and panic disorder, I'm gonna do it because I
That's
need help.
awesome.
I need help, and it's a real big deal and a lot of stress for me that I can't handle. And I, you know, I have these moments where I cry and I'm like, why me? Why me? Why me? Um, there's times where I feel guilty. There's times where I'm like, what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? Um, am I doing good? Are people really paying attention to what I'm doing? So all these things are like really getting to me lately, and I want to thank you for giving those tips because I really do need it. And congratulations with the sobriety, and you're just a very sweet and wonderful person. I thank you for that.
Thank you, Crystal.
All right, everyone. Ladies, you have a beautiful night.
You
I
Stay
love you all so much.
I love you more.
Stay strong, stay healthy. Ladies, again, thank you for an amazing night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk again very soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.